Hi everyone, this is Lauren, your sewing buddy, and today I'm putting together the fit sample for the skirt. This pattern was again drafted by Taran's workshop. This is an asymmetrical skirt with some really neat crisscross trim detail. I'm cutting out the smaller pieces first though so that I can use up scraps from the vest that I made last week. So I'm starting with one of the side panels, and you might think this is kind of an odd shape, but I promise it does make sense later. I just want to make sure that grain line is matched up, and again, for these fit samples, I'm not so worried about the construction aspect. I mean, I do want the finished product to look nice because I would like to gift these to my fit model if I'm able to and if she likes them. Um, but for the most part, I'm really just trying to get these done as quickly as possible. Um, I am using very short pins to pin directly into my carpet here. Please don't tell my landlord. But while I am pinning, I'd like to remind everyone I do have a Ko-fi and a Patreon set up. The links to those are in the description below, and proceeds from those would go toward actually getting these manufactured. So I would love any support that you're able to give, and if you're not able to, please don't worry about it because I still love to have you here. So yeah, then it's just a matter of getting this cut out and double checking that I'm actually in frame for this because, as my uh, subscribers are likely aware, the I do have the habit with longer pieces of the top or bottom being out of frame, and I apologize for that. Um, and I would also like to invite everyone to subscribe. I post new videos weekly on Fridays. There may be a break in the coming future as I'm currently in my 35th week of pregnancy. So uh, once that's over with, I may need to take some time off, but I'll try to at least give a short little video update to let everyone know what's going on there. So, now with that cut out, I just need to pull these pins and move on to the next pieces. So this is like the short side front, and then there's short side center. Well, this is the front and back, and then the short side center is coming up. Just need to get that scrap out of the way. Oh, but first I can do the waistband with this piece. That's really convenient. Uh, just get that folded properly because the center line on this wasn't actually the center line because the waistband did have to be extended from the original pattern that I was sent. But that's all been corrected now. So the original inspiration for this skirt was my plantar fasciitis actually. My arch was swollen and angry on my foot, so I had to wear an inflatable boot for a while. And this was a skirt style that I could get away with at work that would actually either um, sort of point out that boot or hide it depending on how I was feeling that day, because it can be worn front or back or side or however you want really. It's just an asymmetrical anyway skirt, and I was really happy with how that worked out. I do actually need two of these waistbands though, so with one done, let's find that same piece of scrap from the other side of the vest. And all of these, thanks to my lovely cat, have been re-washed recently. She had a little bit of an accident on some of the fabrics, but we have good washer, good detergent, so it's all taken care of, luckily. And lucky for her, she's incredibly adorable and I love her to pieces, so she doesn't need to be punished for that. Don't punish your cats anyway, because they don't have the memory capacity to know what they did wrong and why they're being punished. They'll only remember that now you're a scary person, so be nice to your animals, please. Now, once I've got this waistband cut out and made sure I'm not actually cutting off the ends of my hair, I'll move on to the center side piece. to pull these pins out of the carpet once again. I haven't seen any ill effects from doing it this way. I know it's pinning into the carpet padding, so I think we're okay there. Let's see if I've got enough here to make the skirt center side work. I've got my 2 equal pieces here, but that's not gonna do it. Yeah, neither of these is wide enough. So that means I get to move on to the main body of the fabric, which, again, luckily I have a ridiculous amount of. I think I actually bought this fabric as lining for the Moulin Rouge dress and just bought way too much of it, so especially since I only wound up lining the bodice, so I think I'm okay using this as for a while for samples and mock-ups. However, it has not been repressed since I washed it, so it is a little bit wrinkly, but it does like to stick to itself because it's actual cotton. But I only need to cut one of these, so I don't have to worry so much about everything being smooth. I only have one layer I'm fussing with. And this piece is where the zipper goes, right at the top center there, so I will have to mark that later on. But for now it's just getting this pinned in and cutting that out. I'm not sure if the cutting out and pinning sequences are kind of tedious for everyone. Oh, there's the zipper line. But if they are, please let me know and I'll adjust for future videos. I'm still learning what you want. So any feedback I will take into account. Like, you'll notice we have background music now thanks to a suggestion from a viewer. I want these to be something that's enjoyable for you, and I want them to be something that inspires me to just keep sewing every day or so. So yeah, please, any feedback you have, I would love to see in the comments. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and those links are in the description as well. So I've got this piece done, and then once I've got these all unpinned, it's time to move on to the long panel, the long side, the big mama jama, for which I need to clear a little bit more space here because it's a big one. Look at that. And then all these crisscrosses here are going to be trim, which is a different fabric entirely. So I've determined how long I need this to be, done a quick rip through to get my yardage. I need to get my iron power cord out of the way, readjust a lot of things to get this all laid out. Luckily I only need one of these, so I don't have to deal with doing this twice or folding over fabric or anything like that. It's just getting everything laid out properly here. So once again, starting at the centers and pinning this down and then smoothing it out from there. And you might notice that there's a little bit of unevenness in the seam allowance. That's because the top part of this is going to be French seamed onto that curved piece we saw me cut out first. And then below that, it's just a double roll hem. And that, I'm not really certain how to make that work, but I will make that work. And if it doesn't look quite right, it's all going to be covered with lace trim anyway, so that will be fine. Another piece of random information about what you're seeing on screen, that Garfield ruler there was actually given to me by my brother and his wife when I was in 2nd grade. I think there was a day in school where I thought I'd lost it. It was tucked into my math book, it turns out, but I was very upset and started crying in class about it. So, you know, it's apparently a precious thing, but it's a ruler. It's cute. I like Garfield. So, anyway, just random information about my life. And as I'm continuing to get this piece cut out, I think I made this skirt actually several videos ago in black. I'll add a link here if I did, but um, in that one, the center side panel was made from the same material as the trim that I'm going to use, but I am doing it all in the same fabric this time because I can't find that fabric anywhere. Um, the fabric itself was a find from the Costume College bargain basement. I'm lucky that I was able to get so much of it because I can at least make the trim from that and make sure it looks the way that I want it to, but I don't have enough to feel comfortable using it for the waistband and the side panels on the samples and mock-ups and things. But hey, we've got that all cut now. Time to get these pins removed. And then it's just a matter of getting the pieces actually put together and ready to sew, which there are more pieces here than with the last one, so that's a little bit of doing, but once again, this fabric doesn't care front to back, so I don't have to worry about wrong sides together, right sides together, it's just put it together. So I'm going to start with this curved piece, and that fits onto the curve right here, the narrow part at the top, because the skirt has a nice bit of flare to it. And this is attaching a convex curve to a concave curve. So normally when you put these together you'd want to sew and then clip that curve, but because I'm doing a narrow French seam, I'm not doing that. I'm just keeping it as narrow as possible, and then also if it is a little lumpy bumpy, it's going to be covered with lace trim anyway, so it's really not that big a deal. And that lace is coming up soon. But in the meantime, it's just a matter of getting these pinned, and there is a little bit of discrepancy between the length of the side panel and where the change in seam allowance is on the longer panel. And so I just need to measure that out, see exactly how much it is, and then document that so I can tell Taran, and when we make the final adjustments, that can be accounted for. I'm not doing another revision on this until I've had it actually tried on by my fit model, just because I don't want to have to keep going back and forth. I'd rather do as much of it at once as possible, but that is something that needs to change. So then I will get the second side pinned on so that I can go to my machine all at once, get both of those done at the same time, and let's check back in when those are sewn together. And here we go. Those three pieces are all attached with those nice French seams. There is a little bit of puckering, like I said there would be, but again, that's going to be covered with trim. So now it's on to the center side piece. I do need to mark where the zipper line is for this. It's better to do that before you attach it so you can match up the actual raw edges as opposed to trying to estimate. So I'm just going to make a little mark right here, and then the other mark goes at the center top. So just need to fold this all in half, smooth it out nicely, and make sure I know where that center top actually is. And then I'm going to connect both of those lines using my ruler to keep the line straight. Boom, done. And then I can pin that in to between the shorter side panels there, and we'll be good to go for the next step. And for that next step, we're going to do the waistband. Before I do that, I need to actually cut that zipper line. So that is sitting on the inside of the skirt right now, so I just need to get that pulled out, make sure it's flat so I can cut it nicely once I collect my scissors. And I do want to keep this as straight as possible because that will help the zipper look nice as possible when it goes in. I don't have an invisible zipper for this one. It's a standard, I think, 9-inch zipper I wind up using. But again, for a fit sample, it doesn't matter too much. So now we get the waistband attached, and just kidding, we need to put this lace trim on first. So let me get to the edge of that. We're going to start at the top of that large curved piece. Also, just kidding, I need to get this bottom edge hemmed first all the way around. So we're doing a double rolled hem, and normally you'd want to do a basting stitch at a specific distance around the bottom edge so you know where those folds need to be, because this isn't just a straight flat hem. I did not do that here, once again, because I'm more worried about the sizing than about the construction on this. So of course that's something that I would expect from the manufacturer that I am not here doing myself. Instead, I'm just folding it over twice, trying to keep it about even, making sure things lay flat in between my pins, because that's a good indicator to say that we're on the right track. And then working my way all the way around from there. And now that that's all hemmed, you can see it is a little bit of a ripply hem, but again, lace, trim, cover. Now it's time to actually apply that lace trim. So I'm going to fold this in half and pin it here toward the top, matching up that top edge actually. Although I'm not going to encase the entire edge of the lace in that top edge because I do want it to be a little flowy, and also due to the width of the lace it would cover the zipper at that point, which that would just be frustrating for the wearer. So I'm doing approximately 2-inch pleats all the way around. I am eyeballing this, but I know that with pleating, a change in the width, as long as the edges match up, it's not going to make a huge difference in the overall lace usage. So I should be using about the same amount of lace as I would be if I were actually measuring these out, marking them, and then pleating. The tricky part here is making sure I keep the bottom edges lined up, because they do have a tendency to wander. So I basically have to check with each pleat, okay, are these sitting properly, or am I starting to veer off that center fold? An easy way to rectify this would be to mark the center or base the center or anything along those lines, but we're not doing that today. And then once I get to the center, I want to start pleating in the other direction because I want all of these pleats to be falling toward the center nicely and gracefully. But this is the last step that I'm going to be showing you today. We'll be doing the rest of this next week. I'm pinning in the other direction too, it looks like, which may not be ideal for sewing, but that's what I've decided to do with this. In any case, please check out links in the descriptions. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I know about 75% of you aren't subscribed, which is interesting, but I would love to see you subscribe and get notifications so that you can come check in with me every week. In the meantime, as I continue pleating, please go and create beautiful things, and I will see you again on Friday.